professionals. Thank you for joining me yet again. I am Dr. Burks and I am the Chief HR Officer for Be Professional Consultancy. You will love it here, I promise. But I wanted to have a conversation today about a trending topic that I see all too often in HR. So I wanted to meet with you, and our conversation is going to discuss people making career change. Before I get started, I wanted to give you the scripture that I will be leading with today, and it is 2 Timothy 3:16 through 17. And as always, I will encourage you to read the scripture for yourself. I could read it to you now, but my goal is to always ensure that you spend time with God. Dr. Ellison posted a video last week, and she discussed Job Corps and the challenges affiliated with the changes that are being made, and I thought it was appropriate to follow up on that video and discuss people who are making career changes. FE Online posted an article that pretty much said that between 2022 and 2024, 64% of the population pursued a different industry, like 6, and then add a 4, and then the percentage. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think of in a 2-year span, more than half of the population decided to pursue a different industry. And don't get me wrong, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you are allowed to change your mind. I've said many times that one of the biggest challenges that I see comes with the younger population, young adults who have pursued these degrees or this industry when they were relatively young, and then they put all the time and effort into whether that be college or a trade school, and then they get into the workforce and then they realize they don't like it, and so here they are, there's like this culture shock that I worked so hard to get into this field and then I don't like it. Common, unideal, but common. So some of the reasons, aside from that I often see in my field is that these career changes are affiliated with things from layoffs, they need more money, which I think we all never feel like we are making enough of that. And then there's unfulfillment at work, or they're just simply looking for something new, which is also okay. So the problem with that is a lot of people don't know where to start on said endeavor, and so that is why I'm here. So I want to just give you some things to reframe your thoughts and not discourage you from pursuing it, but just helping you to approach it from a more strategic standpoint. And so with that, I'll just throw out a few things that you should take into consideration before you make this career change, and also encourage you that it is okay. This is not something, I don't care what age you are. I have people who are in their early 20s who decide they want to make changes, and people who are pushing retirement age who just want something new. And I feel like we only get to do this thing once. This is not a game. You don't respawn at the end, and so why not take advantage of enhancing fulfillment? We spend a lot of time at work. We spend a great chunk of our lives, when you think about it, at work. So why not love what you do? So let's get started. So one of the first things I recommend is look at your related skills. Transferable skills are awesome, don't get me wrong, but you need to know the skills that you are trying to transfer into said industry. Once you see the skills, you really need to do an assessment of the skills that are commonly seen, or the requirements that are commonly seen in this industry, to decide if you need to pursue something else. If you need to upskill, that is okay. If you need to reskill, that is also okay. But you have to make sure that you are investing time in discovering this so that you can be very intentional moving forward, because the last thing that you want to do is to start applying and then possibly acquiring interviews and then get to the conversation and realize that there's some type of deficit that you need. Or you may find out in conversation that the skills aren't, like this isn't even what you want to do. So research, research, research. You need to know what you need so that you can get what you want. I emphasize research as well. Because I think it is necessary to make sure that you are also looking at the career outcomes as well as the salary. As I mentioned, career changes, a big component of that is also the income. So you would hate to pursue a career change looking to make more money and then find out that what you are pursuing makes less. Now, don't get me wrong, it is not uncommon to just want fulfillment in doing something else. For example, I have worked in positions where I took a significant pay cut because it was a nonprofit, but I'm passionate about nonprofits, and so I was willing to take a pay cut because I was passionate about the organization's mission and I wanted to help. I love their values, I love their goals, and so that came with a pay cut. Now, on the contrary, other people may not be okay with that, and so though that industry may sound interesting, to pursue that along with a pay cut may not be in their best interest because everyone has a family dynamic or personal things that are different that may not allow for that to realistically happen. So that is a thing that you need to consider. You need to figure out what your non-negotiables are in the research, and then you also need to focus on, is it worth making a change? In theory, doing new things, I feel like we're naturally complacent creatures sometimes. And so in theory, something new is exciting, but how much work are you willing to put into it to pursue it? So I can't speak on that enough. And then the last piece is, once you've done your research, you need to look at your resume. I always give people this advice: have a running resume and then have a resume specific to the field. What is a running resume? Based on my definition, a running resume is pretty much a resume that is standard. It has all of your experience and your skills. You need to keep that open. No PDF copy of that. Word document only, right? And then the specific resume is tailored per the job or the industry. Why is that significant? When you look at a job description and you see these are the specific skills, now remember, you researched the job, so you know if you need to reskill and you know if you need to upskill. And so with that, it is really important to make sure that your resume aligns with the skills that they are looking for that specific job. You get what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with that? And that is also equally important, I mean in general, but when you are making a career change, you want to be able to explain to them, though I may have been an accountant, for example, and now I would like to do HR, for example. So these were the skills that I had as an accountant, and these are the skills that I feel are transferable per this job, and let me explain to you how I feel they work. Conversation starter. You've already created a platform or a foundation for that conversation, and then you can go get it. Simple. I think the greatest thing is when you step out on faith and then you prepared yourself. Great. But also keep in mind, you may experience some no's. There's no foolproof option. I'm simply giving you skills that can assist you in your journey, but you may receive no's. You may receive 10 no's. You may receive a yes on your first time. Of course, we want to go into it being optimistic, but I'm also a realist. And so in that, you have to also mentally prepare yourself that you may not be at the top of the list. Now, granted, you are the subject matter expert for you and your experience. So when that opportunity is put before you, you need to own it. And you need to speak confidently, and you need to go in there to the best of your ability and tell them this is why you are good for the job. But also understand what people don't realize is as you prepare for these career changes or when you're pursuing a job in general, it is a two-way street. It's not about the job just falling in love with you. You have to also fall in love with the job. So take those questions and that research that you have, bring that to the table. What is your work culture? If you were laid off, what are things about that job that you did not like? And then professionally frame your questions to be able to ask them. Or What is the promotional opportunities? If you know you would like to continue to make more money, I think that's important. Is it a flat organization? Is it vertical growth? Whatever the case may be prepared to go in and ask that, because if you are putting a lot of effort into changing careers, why would you want to waste your time or their time? And then professionals, it is okay to change your mind. It is okay, hear me, to change your mind. It is okay. And while again, it's not ideal, you are human and we change our minds sometimes. But this is where that strategy comes into place, because as an HR professional, a lot of times when we see people who have been in not multiple industries, but have started and stopped jobs, they're identified as job hoppers. Why is that a challenge? It's a challenge because the investment piece. It is very expensive to post these jobs, do the recruitment process, training and development, and then you leave. So a lot of times jobs want to look at the risk involved with hiring you. And if the risk is too high, then they will move on to someone who may be less experienced, because long term they're looking for an individual that they can continue to grow and utilize more than just temporary. So for example, if I were to go into a job that was mid-level, as a doctor, the chances of them entertaining me is going to be a lot more slim to someone who has a master's degree. And a lot of feedback that I've heard is because you may get bored. You're a doctor. You are a subject matter expert. You're very well experienced. So the chances of you staying here long term may be slim. So am I going to invest in the person who has lesser experience, who I know is more hungry for this role? Then they may. So also take that into consideration as well. Also look at the market in your area. That is also important, because the industry that you want to go into may not be as popular where you are. So you need to make sure that there are going to be a plethora of job opportunities. Look at to see if your market or the field is oversaturated. Look at the growth. Like, there are so many things that you need to take into consideration, professionals. So it's more than just the idea. I'm just trying to help you approach it, because I'm a strategist. I want you to approach it understanding the pros and the cons, the risks that are involved, and then what is more important to you, to embark on the journey that I just described, or to stay where you are. But if I have to leave you with something, then I will say, just make sure as you proceed with making those changes, following whatever your calling is, stepping out on faith, I would encourage you to try to maintain your current source of income if possible, so that you have stability in the process. We've all heard of people who said, I quit my job, I packed up and I moved to this new location and now I'm struggling. That is probably, there are success stories in that, but it's not something that I would advise per se, because the last thing that I want is for you to set yourself up for failure. And the change that you're making isn't necessarily bad. You just have to make sure that you are preparing yourself so you still have guaranteed revenue while you look. And then when the time is right, then you make the switch. Now again, that's just my advice. Someone else may say something different. But at the end of the day, professionals, I am here to encourage you and to give you as much guidance as possible. I am not speaking on being an expert in this, because there's so many variables. The job market has changed significantly. People are having to be a lot more aggressive on these searches, or people are compromising. There are some people who, for example, who have been laid off, who had to go work at Amazon, for example, not doing what they want to do necessarily, but they are still securing income while also preparing themselves for the career that they would like. But anywho, I can go on and on. But the key takeaway from this, professionals, is that I want you to be prepared for the ever-changing job market, and I also want you to see that the desire that you have to pursue something new is very normal and it is equally okay. So with that being said, I'm hoping and I'm praying that this offers some type of clarity and encouragement for you, while also getting you to understand the realistic outcomes that can also come. This isn't a fairy tale. The corporate America, I say, can be stable, but it is not loyal. Corporate America is going to look out for what's in the best interest of their business. So that is also something that I think is important for you to consider. And if Dr. Ellison were here, she would tell you the exact same thing, especially with her working in the corporate C-suite, and also with us working with individuals who may be in a lower level position. We can give you this advice from personal experience. So I hope that added some value to you, your knowledge, I should say, not value to you, but just to help give you a new framework to reconsider, and also know that we are cheering you on 100%. We want what is absolutely best for you. Pray about it. Make sure that you are being led and not moving because you are upset or frustrated. And then in the comments, talk to us. Have you experienced something like this? Did you do a career change? How did that work for you? Did this video add value? Did I provide you with something that is helpful that you would want to use, or someone else? Share the video. We are here, and with everything else, I would love to just always tell you to remain professional.